Men do not care about us. So what we're gonna do is, if a man wants to date you, be with you, marry you, even speak to you, he needs to give you money.
Whatever happened to men being gentlemen? Like, I know there's still some out there, but like, why aren't they the majority?
You would rather prey on vulnerable women in other parts.
Men are not preying on women from other countries. They're going where they're wanted.
Men are so superficial.
Would you date a guy that's shorter than you?
Absolutely not.
Women are delusional. We think we're hotter than we are. Women tend to want traditional men. Men tend to want traditional women.
Bring back the masculine men. This generation of men wants to be chased so badly. Bring back the masculine.
Masculine men are already here. If they aren't approaching, they simply don't want you. Kindly subscribe to the channel as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
Man who doesn't plan dates does not give an F about you.
I cannot fathom dating in the US again. Like, the men in the UK are just built different. I have been given royal treatment since the moment I stepped off of that plane in London.
As a matter of fact, I have been ran through very many men, but that's not an insult.
This is your reminder not to take ghosting personally because I got ghosted.
If dating for love isn't working out for you, date for money. I'm being dead serious.
Okay, men are now saying that they are attracted to...
If a man is not actively taking you on dates, it's a no.
You need help.
I can absolutely not be the only woman looking for them a good man, right? I'm over 40. I have my own house, have my own car, got my shit together. Like, I'm looking for something real, right? I've been lied to, cheated on, treated like a second option, whatever, right? I get hit on all the time. I'm on all the apps. Nothing pans out. It ain't worth my time. But scrolling TikTok, I see you fine-ass creatures that look like you have been created in heaven and you're waiting to be released. I don't know where you're at. I don't know where the you're hiding, but you need to bring your ass up out of the bunker that you are in with the rest of the fine-ass cowboys. And you need to bring it on over to my front door. Thank you.
And this is exactly what I mean. A woman will spend her 20s and 30s chasing a career, becoming successful, and prioritizing independence, which is fine, but then act surprised when later on, finding a good man becomes a struggle. This woman is 40. Is it impossible for her to find a man? No, but it's a lot harder to find the kind of man she wants. And that's likely why she made this video, calling all the cowboys as if good, stable, masculine men are just out here waiting to be summoned like backup dancers in her life story. But the reality is, dating in your 40s as a woman isn't what it used to be. A lot of these women find themselves getting ghosted, breadcrumbed, or straight up pump and dump by the same chads who used to chase them. Only now those guys aren't sticking around. They're not looking for long-term anymore. Why would they? They're still getting options, and they know they don't have to commit to women who, or a ticking biological clock.
Bring back the masculine men. This generation of men wants to be chased so badly. I'm not doing it, princess. What is the quote that I just heard recently? Can't get rejected if you're not actively pursuing. Tell me you're a wounded warrior without telling me you're a wounded warrior. You need therapy, babe.
Women really need to stop blaming their singleness on God and God's timing. It's become the new, I'm single because I'm picky. It's just another excuse to not take accountability. God gives us free will, and those choices that you made in your 20s are why you are single. You slept around in your 20s, guess what? That's not from God. Those were your bad choices. That was your plan, not God's plan. And the reason why you're single in your 30s, it's because of your own choices that you made. You are the reason that you are single. You wanted to have fun, find yourself, experiment. Cool, but don't complain now. Take some accountability and stop trying to portray it as God's plan. I'm so sick and tired of women not taking accountability, constantly just coming up with new ways to avoid accountability.
Why are you giving up your power as a woman still? Men are animals. Like, men need to hunt, need to chase. The moment you let them know that the prey is basically like just available and it's not running and they don't have to put much effort, the excitement and like the urges kind of just like disappear, because that's not engaging for them anymore. They don't have a purpose of pursuit anymore. What works the best in dating is pleasing yourself.
Any woman who's out here speaking this nonsense about men needing to chase them doesn't actually like you. Those are just games they want to play. They want you to boost their ego first. You have to understand, these kinds of women are looking for a thrill, not a real connection. They get a rush out of knowing they have someone wrapped around their finger, jumping through hoops to prove himself, while they do the bare minimum in return. It's not about building something meaningful. It's about control and validation. They feel powerful when they have you chasing because it feeds their self-worth without them having to give anything back. But here's the truth. If you have to chase, it really isn't that valuable anyway. Something real doesn't require games. A woman who genuinely likes you will meet you halfway, not sit on a pedestal waiting for you to exhaust yourself, proving you're worthy of her time.
I genuinely think the world would be a better place if we had more delusionally conceited ass women walking around. You literally, like, breathe human life onto the planet. Like, be a little conceited. Also, look at my face.
I think the thing that confuses me the most about dating in this generation is you'll meet somebody and they'll be like, oh yeah, I've been single for 2 years. And you're like, cool. And then they'll go in and mention multiple people, one of like which they have just gone on trips with, met their parents, all these things. And you're like, okay, so all I'm hearing is that you actually have not been single. Like, I don't know what your definition of single is. Mine sounds very different, like very different.
No longer worth the effort. So what you're saying is that you would rather go and prey on vulnerable women in other parts of the world because they don't require as much effort. You want to be the provider, and you think that being a provider means paying the bills. You don't know how to provide emotional stability. You don't know how to provide a partnership. And you certainly don't know how to provide good dick. So these benefits that you speak of better be dental, Greg.
No, women in other countries respect themselves and men. Women here are damaged and selfish. The divorce rate in Thailand is extremely low. In the West, it's extremely high. Western women say, "What are you going to do for me?" While these other women ask, "What can she do for us?" Spin it any way you want. This woman is the exact reason men are looking elsewhere for a wife. It's always fascinating hearing these types of women making wild assumptions about why men go to other countries to find wives. They claim men are just looking to prey on vulnerable women or take advantage of them. But let's be real, that says more about them than it does about the men. What it really sounds like is this woman has a personal issue with Greg, and instead of owning that, she's projecting it onto an entire group of men. She's not offering thoughtful critique. All she's doing is spewing personal attacks, and in doing so, she exposes her own bitterness and unresolved baggage. It's not about protecting foreign women. It's about controlling men like Greg, who've simply chosen to walk away from the Western dating scene. And deep down, that bothers her. Not because she cares about those other women, but because she knows she's no longer in control of the narrative. And by the way, you don't provide emotional stability to someone like it's a product you hand over. That's just ridiculous. Emotional stability is something you build within yourself.
Men are so superficial.
Would you date a guy that's shorter than you?
Absolutely not. I'd at least 6'2".
At least 6'2".
Yeah.
How tall are you?
5'5".
5'5".
Yeah.
So 6'2".
Well, it's 5'6", 5'5".
6'2" bare minimum.
Yeah, I just like tall dudes.
I'm back. But I want to know, where are all the men that pull up and say, wear that yellow dress I like so much? I'm taking you out because I need that in my life. And it's nowhere to be found.
Make it happen.
No! Women only leave men when they are not being taken care of, right? So when women aren't being emotionally taken care of, right? Because guys will have sex anytime. They have affairs because their emotional needs are not being met. The more that you can like take care of your wife and try to make her happy, do things that's nice for her, she won't go anywhere, right? And then the more that you do that, the more she's going to want to do the same for you. People are always weird, like, you're not doing this, or I'm not getting enough of this. But the more you give to that, your partner, the more they want to give to you. I've been married for almost 16 years now to my second husband, and my last husband, like, he's my world, you know, like I love him so much and I would never want to get divorced again. And some people are just narcissistic psychos, so they're going to cheat on you anyways. Like, that was my first husband, right? So, you know what I mean?
Did you guys hear that? Amazing, isn't it? If her husband cheats, he's a narcissistic psychopath. But if she cheats, it's because he wasn't fulfilling her emotional needs. This woman is delusional. That's not accountability. That's self-justification. Cheating is a choice, not a reflex. You can't scream loyalty when it's convenient and then rewrite the rules when you're the one in the wrong. And that other statement she made, that women only leave men when they're not being taken care of, obviously that's a lie. Plenty of men provide, protect, and give their all, yet still get left because she's bored, wants to find herself, or thinks she can do better. We've seen it time and time again. A man can be doing everything right, and it still won't be enough for someone who's chasing excitement instead of commitment. The truth is, some women don't leave because they're neglected. They leave because they think the grass is greener.
What is it about Asian women that men are so intrigued by, do you think?
Well, they sometimes think they're going to get submissive women, which is not true because I am anything but submissive. And a lot of times the men come to us because they like how the women are caring, kind, family oriented, a little bit more polite, probably, like they think, than the average Caucasian American women, or the men have been to Asia before for work or for the military, and they just love the culture, the food, the traditions.
Women are delusional. We think we're hotter than we are. Women tend to want traditional men. Men tend to want traditional women. But like, how many women like have a cookbook, know how to cook from scratch? How many women would delete their Instagram because their husband told them to?
Or even delete certain photographs.
The men are looked at as dogs if they cheat, but the women are not looked at as dogs if they have a provocative picture on their Instagram. And if anything, they'll die trying to defend it. And the men are shamed for it. They're called controlling. And I'm just like, for not wanting your tits on Instagram, like, get out of here.
This is the reason men have to pay the bills. Like, being a provider is the least they can do. Because the amount of things that women go through that men do not go through is quite literally unfair. That's the only way to balance it. Number one, the period cycle. This is a monthly evolution of ever-changing hormones that we cannot control. Sometimes we have too little. Sometimes we have too much. Progesterone, estrogen, we just can't control that. Cortisol, up and down. It is radical, all while we're expected to manage those emotions and be productive members of society. And then the period that so graciously shows up every month. And don't get me wrong. For those of us that don't want kids, we are so ever so thankful that it shows up. But that does not negate the fact that sometimes it's brutal.
So men need to fund a woman's lifestyle because women go through periods. How exactly does that balance things out? She also mentioned it's because those are things women go through that men don't have to deal with. Like, okay, but how does a biological reality suddenly turn into a financial responsibility for men? Men also go through things women don't. Stress from physically demanding jobs, pressure to protect and provide, higher workplace injury rates, dangerous labor, military drafts, and higher rates of homelessness and suicide. If we're playing the "you don't go through what I go through" game, then men could just as easily demand financial compensation for the risks and burdens they face that women don't. But that's not how relationships are supposed to work. She says being a provider is the least men can do. That's the problem right there, reducing a man's entire value to his ability to provide financially, as if his role is nothing more than an ATM with legs.
As a Western woman living in Singapore, it's a very common fact that it's a very difficult market to date. And what happens is many Western women, in this case English women, will leave because they can't find a boyfriend and come back home to the motherland. Have I thought about that? Yes. Do I want that to be the case? No. But this Christmas, I may just have a little peek on the dating apps, just to, see what the options are like here.
I really want to talk about this comment because this is definitely something that has come across my desk a few times in the last few weeks, especially. I think it's very important for women to acknowledge that, you know, when we complain that men don't approach women anymore in public, this is the fear that's going on in their heads, is that they are scared of being shamed online. And I've spoken to younger men, and especially with younger men, this rings true. And it was interesting because I was listening to Theo Vaughn's podcast, the episode that he had Andrew Huberman on, and Andrew Huberman said the same thing. He said that he mentors a lot of young men who have this genuine fear of being shamed online by women, which is why they don't feel the need or the urge or the desire to approach women in public anymore. And honestly, like, if I thought that I would be publicly shamed online if I approached a man, I probably wouldn't do it either. So obviously there are nuances to the situation, like people who inappropriately approach women or do it in a derogatory way or do it in a disrespectful way, of course, but we're not really speaking about that. We're talking about just men not wanting to talk to women in public because they're scared they're going to get trashed online. And as women, I think we really need to acknowledge our behavior in this cycle. You know, if we continue to, you know, berate men online and talk about how, you know, a guy approached you and he was ugly and you're gonna make fun of him and do all this stuff on the internet, don't complain when men have this genuine fear of approaching women in public anymore. So thank you for leaving this comment. I think it is really important to talk about that because it's really, truly come across my desk multiple times in the last few weeks, and it's something that I've actually wanted to talk about. And the more that I speak to men and the more that, you know, I listen to men who mentor young men, especially, this is what the genuine fear is. So, yeah, okay, bye.
It's a pretty valid fear. And it's not just paranoia. Remember when women used to film random guys at the gym or on the street just for glancing in their direction? Then they'd upload it to TikTok or Instagram with some dramatic caption like, "You look at this creep," just to farm likes and validation. And of course the comments would be flooded with other women shaming those men, even though most of the time the guys weren't doing anything inappropriate at all. They were just existing. So, yes, some men do hesitate to approach women out of fear that they might end up on a viral video, being publicly humiliated for doing something as innocent as saying hello or making eye contact. But let's be honest, for most men, it's deeper than that. It's not just fear of being shamed online. It's the growing realization that modern Western women often take more than they give. These men have seen the pattern, and they refuse to be the next victim.
Even when I was taking a shower at my ex's house, I come out of the shower and I see him going through my phone, and I had no idea he even knew my passcode. So I'm like tripping out. He's tripping out because for the life of me, I could not be faithful to this man. I immediately lunge for the phone. He starts running. I'm chasing him around his apartment. The towel has fallen. He was very agitated, but I knew he hadn't gotten to the hard hitters yet because there was some crazy stuff on there, and his reaction was like upset, but not like flabbergasted. So he lets me back inside, and I come back in and I'm like, "Listen, obviously we're done. Just give me the phone. Let's part ways." Like, I was such a little bitch. I couldn't even apologize. We were wondering what happened. We got back together a week later and dated for another 8 months.
If a man is not actively taking you on dates, it's a no. It's a no. Especially in the early stages. There should be no, "Come over to my place, let me come over to your place, let's watch a movie." They need to be actively taking you out, going to do activities, going to see stuff. And then if you want to have movie nights and stuff like that in between, yeah, but every time you hang out shouldn't be at one of your houses. And you need to set that boundary from the beginning, girl. Like, if they start insinuating, like, "Come over, come to my place," no, cut that off so quick. Make it so clear, like, "Hey, I'm not looking for that. Like, we need to go on dates." And usually that'll weed off the guys who don't want anything serious pretty quick. If they are not actively trying to take you out, go out and do things, go out and have new experiences, it's a no. That's what dating is, bitch. It's not, "Come over to my place, let's watch a stupid movie and hook up." Like, that's a hookup, not a date. Do not let them play you, bitch. Don't do it.
What exactly does she take that man for? If a man isn't actively taking you on dates, it's a no. It's easy for women to say stuff like this because they're not the ones paying for the date. It's not their wallet taking the hit every time. It's not their gas. It's not their planning. I understand a woman doesn't want to go to a guy's house on a first date, but expecting a man to actively put on a performance by going on many dates is unrealistic and one-sided. At some point, it stops being about getting to know each other and starts feeling like a constant audition where the man has to keep spending just to prove he's worthy. That's not dating. That's entertainment at his expense. If the only way she's engaged is through fancy outings, then she's more interested in the experience than the man providing it.
Okay. 50-50 on a first date. Ladies, don't do it. Do not do it. Do not do it on a first date. Do not do it on a second date. And hell, don't even do it on a third date. If that man cannot afford to take you out on a date, you should not be dating him. Girl, you're going to have so many problems if you decide to fall in love with that one and he's broke. No. You put the time and the effort into getting ready to looking beautiful, and he doesn't even want to pay for the whole date. No. Do not ever call that man back if he asks you to go 50-50 on a first date, second or third date. That is just bottom of the barrel. And men, you should not even be asking women out on dates if you cannot afford to take them. That is ridiculous. God, I just can't stand that crap. Ladies, don't do it. Don't. You will regret it.
Do you still trust women after working in nightlife for 20 years?
You know, obviously you see a lot of cheating. I remember a girl was on a girls' night out in the bar, and she basically, her friends left and she got talking to a guy. Obviously she had the wedding ring on. The guy is actually somebody I know very well. All her friends leave. She says she wants to stay. One of the friends kind of lingers for a little while, trying to get her to leave, and knows what's about to go down. The girl just shoos her away. She ends up leaving. So now it's just her and him. Obviously we're walking, you know, we know where this is going to end up. So he's looking at me going, yo, she's married. I'm like, dude, I don't want to part of this, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't really know the girl. Anyway, she gets on the phone and she's right near me at the end of the bar, and she calls her husband. Hey, babe, Stacy's vomiting and stuff. I'm going to stay with her and look after her. And so I'm going to be home late, or I might just sleep at Stacy's house, you know, depending on how she looks. I don't know who Stacy is, but she sure ain't in the bar at this point, right?
Oh my God.
Right. So fast forward a few hours, you see them making out and the whole nine. They disappear. I believe dumpsters were involved, right? Yes.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Well, he disappeared. It's a hidden spot, you know. He comes back in. He's like, Rishi, I'm out. And I'm like, daps me up, leaves. I'm like, dude. She comes in 3 minutes later, just adjusting herself, calls her husband, has him pick her up at the bar, comes in, and she's introducing him to people like nothing happened. And I'm just like, I'm scarred. I'm scarred for life.
This right here is the ultimate betrayal. Not only did this woman lie to her husband so she could get her back blown out in an alley, but she also had the audacity to invite her husband along, standing there with him like nothing had happened, as if she wasn't just committing one of the most disgusting acts of disrespect a spouse could do. That's not just cheating, that's calculated cruelty. She wasn't just unfaithful, she was mocking him in real time, treating his trust like a joke, and his dignity like it was disposable. It's one thing to betray someone behind closed doors, but to stand beside them smiling, knowing full well what you just did, is cold-blooded. That level of deceit shows she never valued the marriage, never respected the man, and only cared about covering her tracks while still getting her thrill. This is why a man has to be very careful who he puts a ring on, because some of these women's hearts still belong to the streets, and they just can't let it go.
Everybody wants to date a millionaire guy until you realize that he's going to hold you up to the same exact standards that he holds himself. So you can't be no lazy bitch. You can't just lay in bed all day. You have to go on the runs. You have to be fit. You have to eat healthy. Pretty much everything that a high value man does, he will expect you to do it. So if you're the type of girl that rots in bed all day, that you don't brush your teeth, you don't brush your hair, you don't do your makeup, most likely a millionaire high value man is not going to pick you. And it's not because you're ugly. It's not because of this. It's just because you're not holding yourself up to the high standard that he holds himself. So if he's holding himself up here and he's going on a 3-mile run every day and he's going to the gym and he's eating healthy and you're eating chicken tenders and fries and rotting in bed all day, that's most likely not going to be your man. So rule number 1 or step number 1 to finding your millionaire high value man, stop being lazy. Get the fuck up, do your hair, do your makeup, and act like the high value woman that attracts and has a high value man. Cause like, let's be real, this super high net worth value guy on a yacht with his friends and like just a shit ton of money is most likely not going to be with a girl who doesn't wash her face, who doesn't eat healthy, who doesn't work out. And that's facts. And you guys can come at me if you want, but I hang out with enough high value guys that I know how they think.
You're not entitled to a man's money simply because you are female. Nope. So I put up a post. It read, you all took dating and relationships from let's go out and have a good time and get to know each other to what can you do for me? Are you going to pay my bills? I always hear females, some females, not all, some, that talk about what a man should do for them in order to be able to get them and to keep them. And they talk about him being able to financially care for them, to buy them stuff, to pay their bills, whatever. And that is cool if that's what the man wants to do. But if you enter into an interaction as a female with a man thinking that you are entitled to these things simply because you are female and he is male, no. You have a problem if you think that you are entitled to someone else's money. Do not make demands of someone that you yourself cannot meet. So many females have this logic that if I'm giving a man my body, then he should give me something in return. You're forgetting that he is also giving you his body. It's not a you thing and a you thing only. Come on, people! My issue is the sense of entitlement. When you feel like that's what he should be doing. Why should he when you can't? It's not your money.
This is amazing, but the truth of the matter is, modern women do feel entitled to a man's money. Let's stop pretending otherwise. You'll hear things like, I'm the prize, or I exist, so he owes me, or a real man should take care of me. It's not about partnership anymore. It's about what the man can do to upgrade her life. Everything revolves around her lifestyle, her comfort, her goals, her happiness. The man's role: be the wallet, the emotional sponge, the status booster. His needs, his goals, his peace, those are afterthoughts, if they're acknowledged at all. And what's wild is many of them create these self-serving narratives to justify this entitlement. They'll say things like, women are the table, or I bring femininity, as if simply showing up is enough to demand lifelong provision. Meanwhile, they won't cook, won't clean, won't support, and sure as hell won't submit to anything that doesn't serve them. It's a one-sided deal, one that's keeping many of them single right now.
No, because one thing about me is I will reject so many men because I have standards and then somehow still pick the worst man to ever walk this planet.
In life, it is about common denominators. So if you want to find the root of this problem, I'm going to show you your next course of action. What you're going to do is find the nearest mirror in your house.
Then you're going to get about 6 inches away and take a long, hard look.
And since this problem is reoccurring, that long, hard look will show you the problem. It's you.
If dating for love isn't working out for you, date for money. I'm being dead serious. My dating approach has been unbelievably pure for my entire life. Never cared about the financial status of the guy. Have dated people with less money than me. Have always gone 50-50 in relationships. Has never been financially taken care of by a guy. I just wanted to fall in love and have a genuine partnership and connection with someone. And
Valid.
guess where that's gotten me? Used. Taken advantage of. Single. My ex, who I thought I was in love with at the time, we split everything 50-50, including rent. We lived together. That he was never going to marry me. He was never going to settle down with me. The guy who I've had genuine feelings for has just hurt me.
You are so close. This doesn't mean you need to go the polar opposite and just start using other men for money. But you felt like you were being used in your relationships, right? So you're gonna turn around and do the same thing to these other men. Hence, punishing all these other men for the actions of your exes. And that's not right. Here's the thing is we all know that there are people out there who will use you. It doesn't matter the gender. That's why you need to have boundaries on how much you're willing to give. And if your underlying expectation was to get marriage out of the relationship, you need to communicate that up front. You need to have your limits. Some men don't want to get married these days, and it's valid, but you also need to protect yourself if for you that's a must-have. I have been in these same situations myself, and once I was like, okay, this is what I'm willing to put up with, this is what I'm not. And I was very fair with it, and I was willing to set boundaries but not be too unreasonable with them. My dating options massively improved. And now I'm with the man of my dreams. And yeah, he doesn't make 6 figures. Yeah, he doesn't buy me fancy stuff every day. But he is willing to share everything that he has with me. We have a genuine, loving connection. If you only use people for money or the resources they can give you, you're not going to have deep, loving relationships. You're going to have very shallow relationships. And I know some women are like, well, I have my girlfriends, I don't care. Well, throughout your life, your girlfriends will be close to you and far away from you. Because ultimately, we all prioritize our romantic relationships over our friends. That's just how it works. And yes, having girlfriends is absolutely wonderful. But you're going to want someone by your side that's your partner, where you will be first most of the time. And that's going to be in your romantic relationship. So you want that to be a deep connection.
This is what I mean when I say women have one bad experience with one man and their minds go ballistic. She said dating for love didn't work, so now she's dating for money, treating every guy like he's just a walking paycheck. One heartbreak turned her whole perspective into men are investments, and now she's operating like relationships are business transactions. What ends up happening to these types of women is that they become broken. Over time, the constant cycle of bad choices, failed relationships, and unhealed wounds chips away at them. The walls get higher, the bitterness sets in, and the softness they once had fades away. They start to believe every man is out to hurt them, so they operate in defense mode, cold, guarded, and transactional. The tragedy is, many of them don't realize they're the architects of their own downfall. Instead of healing, they pile on more baggage. Instead of changing their approach, they double down on the same destructive patterns.
Why do modern women struggle with accountability?
Because that would mean that they have to acknowledge that they don't bring value to the table. That would mean that they have to acknowledge that all they have to offer is beauty and intimacy. And that's unfortunate. A modern woman of 2024 is a woman that seeks attention and validation more than respect and authenticity. It is a woman who is entitled to whatever it is that people have around her. It is a woman that takes things for granted, is not appreciative, and kind of just has a high level of expectation with low level of give. You know, she's a taker, not a giver.
Well, there are many reasons why modern women struggle with accountability. And number one, it's just easier to blame a man than to take a hard look in the mirror. Accountability feels like an attack to someone who's spent years avoiding it. So instead of saying, maybe I messed up, or maybe I pushed away a good man, it's, he was toxic, he couldn't handle me, or men are just intimidated by strong women. It's a coping mechanism. Blame deflects the pain. Responsibility demands growth. And that's uncomfortable. It's easier to play the victim than to admit that some of their problems are self-inflicted. That failed relationship? It wasn't because she lacked emotional maturity or communication skills. It was his fault. That job she quit? He didn't support her enough. That attitude that pushed people away? It's because they couldn't handle her energy.
I can't tell you the last time a man gave me butterflies. Brain damage? Like 24 minutes ago. Butterflies? Can't recall that.
I think dating sucks in the Western community because nobody really understands what to do anymore. Like, just the standard is blurred here. Like, nobody just understand. Is the girl should be feminine still? Or should she open her own doors? Like, it's really hard. Like, the roles are not harsh divided anymore, and that's why it's causing problems, in my opinion. So that's why everyone is confused, and nobody just having like a great experience in dating, because nobody exactly knows what to do. Like, of course it would just be a problem, you know, my opinion.
Listen up. Us ladies that have young children or even children at all cannot accept the bare minimum or less from a man. That is just unacceptable. So if you are a man and you have interest in a mama with kids, and you know in your head and in your heart and soul that you cannot do more than the bare minimum, don't disrupt that woman's peace. We can't do it. If that was the case, y'all, we would go have another baby. We do not have time to be dealing with bullshit from men. Hell, we only get, one day out of the week, if that, of free time. You think we want to spend our free time with a man who doesn't even make our life easier? Hell no. Y'all better let that trash-ass boyfriend go and find you a Mr. Make It Happen. Because if you've already got kids and your life is already stressful, there is no way in hell you should be dealing with or putting up with a man that can only do the bare minimum. And I'm not saying just men. Women too need to play their role as a wife, girlfriend, fiance, whatever. But I'm saying a man that is willing to do more than the bare minimum, we're going to go all the way for you. We're already good moms. So imagine what we'll do for you. Thank y'all. Love y'all.
Well, she's in luck, because the majority of men aren't checking for single mums in the first place. So they don't really have to worry about getting the bare minimum from men who were never interested to begin with. But here's the twist. Most women today don't even know what the bare minimum is. The line keeps moving. A man can go out, provide, protect, support emotionally, be faithful, plan dates, help with the kids, do everything, and somehow it's still not enough. Because it's not really about what he's doing, it's about how she feels. And if her feelings shift, suddenly he's not doing what he used to do, even though nothing changed. That's the trap a lot of men fall into, constantly trying to prove themselves to someone who keeps raising the bar every time he meets it. And let's not forget, when a woman has multiple voices in her ear, social media, friends telling her she deserves more, influencers preaching about high-value men, even a good man can start to look average if she's comparing him to fantasy.